Are we human? Or are we dancer? You're watching a video on the nature of humanity, and we're going to look at what Catholics believe when it comes to what human beings are like. So, your first answer, okay, answer numero uno is Catholics believe that humans were created by God. Why? Well, there's this story. It's all about creation. It's called the creation story. And it details how God was the creator. Okay, he created all human life. And you can also say about God, breathe life into Adam. Okay, you can use that as your evidence. The second thing is that Catholics believe that human life is sacred and holy. If it's sacred and holy, it means two things. Made by God, belongs to God. If we are made by God, then you can talk about how this is in the creation story and God breathed life into Adam and also belong to God, but one day we're going to return to him when we die, okay? Then, number 3, human life is valuable or important and it should be valued. Why is this? Well, number 1, we've all been made unique with different talents that is taught in the parable of the talents, but we're vessels of the Holy Spirit. God is within us all, okay? So, really important sort of thing that you can say there about if God is within us, if we've been made sort of special, then we should protect our lives. The next one, all right, is that all human beings have a soul. Right, why is this? Because God breathed life into Adam, so part of God is within us, and we are made up of 2 equal parts, our bodies and our souls. Not our ties, our souls. Now, number 5, okay, and I'd like to use the term Imago Dei, if you can, okay? I-M-A-G-O, and Dei, D-E-I. Now, all humans are made in the image and likeness of God, or Imago Dei. And this is because, all right, the Old Testament teaches us that we're made in the image and likeness of God, meaning that we share similarities with him, and also that we're really important. God made all of creation, but it was us, human beings, that he made to be most like him, okay? It's a really key point. The next one is that human beings, just like God, are creative. Why is that? Well, because of the fact that we can procreate, that we can have children, okay? So, we are creative. The next one, okay? All human beings have free will, all right? And this is because we are autonomous. We are able to make our own decisions for ourselves. And once again, St. Paul says to us, a really good teaching there is, each of you should give what you have decided in your heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. So take little bits from that quote and use it in your answer, okay? It's the idea that we should make decisions that we want to make. The next answer is, despite having free will, God doesn't want us to use this wrong, okay? He wants us to use it correctly. So, God has made us rational, okay? And that means sort of the understanding of right and wrong, okay? And this is because God has laid his law, and that's a quote for you, okay? Laid his law upon us, all right? That he's laid his law upon us through our conscience to help us to make the right decisions in our lives, but also he sent the Holy Spirit as the paraclete to help guide us in our lives too. In addition to this, okay, so there's loads of answers, all right, obviously 8 for an explain, all right, but onto the 9th one is that Catholics believe that humans are fallen, okay, and have original sin. Why is this? Well, it's because we are flawed. We are not perfect. And because of the fall, okay, where Adam and Eve turned away from God, this idea of original sin has been passed down to each and every human being. So within us all is this little something that tempts us to do wrong, okay, and stops us from being perfect like God. The final one is that human beings are destined, okay? It's such this idea of having a plan. And why is that? Because God says, I know the plans I have for you. Meaning that, not he's forcing us, but he's cut a pathway, if you want, in our lives that we can walk along if we so choose, okay? He's not controlling us, but he's cut a pathway for us to follow because he's got a plan for us. And if we follow our destiny, then we will go there, okay? So that's the final thing about when it comes to the nature of humanity. You pick the ones that you want to focus on. What about if it comes up as an evaluation question? And it could do, okay? And if it does, well, there are some things that you need to sort of focus on with this question. So, it's all to do with whether the views that Catholics got on humans are correct. So the reasons that they're incorrect, you could ask you, say that, yeah, whether they're accurate. So if they do, then you use the answers above and say, yes, they are, because of human beings have a soul, and human beings have this, and human life is sacred. But the alternative side is this, all right? That Catholics are wrong, if you want, because humans, number one, were not created by God, but through evolution. Okay, so this is because there's lots of scientific evidence to suggest this, and you can also then go on and say about blind evolution. It says about this has no involvement of God, and instead human life has come through natural selection, survival of the fittest. Okay, no mention of God. The second answer is that you could say that human life isn't sacred. Why is that? Because people who don't believe in God, that they would say, well, if there is no God, then how can we be made by God? How can we belong to God? Well, if that is the case, then the human life isn't sacred, okay? Then, the next one, humans do not have a soul. Again, similar sort of thing, right? There's no evidence, all right, of a soul. If we don't believe that we're made by God, then we don't obviously believe that in this idea of a soul. And also talk about things like surgeries. There's no evidence, all right, that a soul has ever been there or exists. And finally, okay, that people who disagree with the Catholic view would say humans are not like God, okay, so couldn't and aren't in his image and likeness, particularly his likeness, okay? And this because God is this perfect being. Well, we're not perfect. We are flawed, okay? We've got sin, original sin, okay? We are sinful. We do wrong things. And let's be honest, okay? Some human beings are evil. Well, how is that like God? So they would say that humans are not like God, so they're not in his image or we're not in his likeness. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was really helpful for you.